Welcome back to the Messy Sweet Spot, you guys, where we expose the secrets they don't want us to ask about. Today's story, it ain't just sad, it is chilling. The headline reads like a tragedy, y'all, but behind the scenes is looking more like a setup. TMZ said he drowned. People magazine said it was just an accident, but Malcolm-Jamal Warner's family, honey, they're saying that don't add up. And when I tell you this story has so many layers, baby, you better grab a notepad, because by the end of this video, you're gonna realize exactly why they say Malcolm-Jamal Warner death was not an accident. Let's lay out the basic blueprint, shall we? They say Malcolm went swimming at a beach known for its rough waves, right? They say the currents got him. They say the Red Cross showed up too late. They said it was just a freak accident, but his family isn't buying it, y'all. Word on the curb is that they immediately start asking questions when they heard the timeline, the lack of witnesses, and how many things just felt too off. And when a family who knows you starts saying, nope, that don't sound like him, you better believe it's time to take a second look. Now here's what got me heated. This man died on a public beach, a celebrity, in 2025, and not one photo, not one video, not one person posted about being there. Child, people be recording their lunch. You mean to tell me nobody caught this on camera? It don't make sense. The silence is louder than the screams, and Malcolm's family knows it. That's why they're allegedly being pushing behind the scenes to get the real truth, because this kind of silence, it ain't natural. It's intentional. And you know what? What makes it worse, they admitted there were no lifeguards on duty. They knew that the beach was dangerous, but on that exact day, somehow, no patrols, no warning signs, nothing. Then after Malcolm's death, they want to redirect the resources and send guards out now? Now? So you're saying this beach was on your radar for years, but y'all waited until a black celebrity died to care? That's not regret, that's guilt. Now, baby, this right here is where everything just flips. Just 48 hours before he died, Malcolm dropped he dropped what become his final episode. The title, Not All Hood, and the message, Black survival is Black excellence. Listen to what he said. Black excellence is better. We just put black on it because we had to be better. He was talking about surviving a system that built against you. He was talking about reflecting. He was warning. He was signing off. And now that episode is being seen in a whole new light. A farewell or a signal. Malcolm didn't just act. He didn't just recite lines. He was speaking truth about identity, media stereotypes, and power. He called out the lazy narrative that all Black people are hood. He called out the erasure of Black intelligence, softness, and death. And baby, when you start making people think instead of just laugh, then that's when you become a threat. That podcast wasn't just content. It was a declaration. And 2 days later, he's gone? You do the math. You do the math. Now, this is where the family theory comes in. Sources say they believe he may have already been dead before hitting the water. They're allegedly looking to the possibility of slow-acting poison, a method used to avoid direct suspicion, something that wouldn't leave a clear trail, something that would look like a drowning. Baby, this ain't no theory. This is chess. And they might be moving in silence, but believe me, they're making moves. Because what the family is saying privately is starting to match what the fans have been saying in their guts. Let me ask you something, y'all. Why is it it's always the truth tellers that got out under mysterious circumstances? They always go out under mysterious circumstances. Look at Nipsey Hussle. Spoke out about ownership, gone. Angie Stone. She said she was ready to expose the secrets, gone. Jamie Foxx tried to speak out, vanished, reappeared with a whole new face. And Martin Lawrence, he screamed, "They trying to kill me! They trying to kill me!" They painted him as crazy. You don't see the pattern? Every time a black celebrity starts speaking real truth, they vanish, they suffer, or they accidentally die. We're not conspiracy theorists, we're pattern recognizers. And the pattern, honey, it's screaming. Malcolm wasn't messy. He wasn't loud. He stayed in his lane until he decided to use his voice. And that's when the problem started. He was building something deeper, using his platform for awareness, and for the first time, his words were traveling farther than his image. Then, that's when people in power, they start to panic. They started to panic because when you can't be controlled and you ain't scared, you gotta be removed. You gotta be removed. So I'm gonna say it one more time for the people in the back. Malcolm-Jamal Warner family reveals why his death wasn't an accident. Not because they want attention, not because they're emotional, but because something just ain't right. If you feel it in your spirit too, I want you guys to drop a comment. We need to hear from you all. Was this really a drowning, or was this a silencing? Because once a family starts digging, secrets don't just stay buried long. Honey, I got this video and I know I gotta react to it, but I just had to speak out about this. I had to tell you guys how I feel and what's on my mind before I react to this video. But I need you guys to make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, leave a comment, and let's get into the reaction.
Welcome back. We have some very sad breaking entertainment news to share with you. TMZ is reporting that Malcolm-Jamal Warner, probably best known for his role on The Cosby Show, has died. People report that the 54-year-old was in Costa Rica on a family vacation and accidentally drowned while swimming.
Stunning death of actor Malcolm-Jamal Warner.
Breaking entertainment news, Malcolm-Jamal Warner has died.
Malcolm-Jamal Warner, dead at the age of 54 on a drowning accident.
The heartbreaking news of Malcolm-Jamal Warner's tragic death has shook the internet. New information has come out that is telling a different story, one that's got fans questioning everything we thought we knew. Now, initial reports called it a freak accident, but behind the scenes, the family has been fighting to keep certain details from being buried. Now, they're done staying quiet. There's now information that's come forward with chilling claims that Malcolm didn't just pass away, that he may have been targeted, and the timing of it all is just too convenient. We're talking cryptic warnings he reportedly gave just days before it happened. According to reports, this wasn't random. It was calculated, and the truth about what really happened is about to crack wide open. We'll lay out the story, but you tell us what you believe in the comments. Malcolm-Jamal Warner's sudden passing left a lot of people stunned, especially because there were no warning signs at all. The official story was that he drowned while swimming at Clay Beach in Costa Rica during a family vacation. Now, that beach is known to have rough waters, strong undercurrents, and reports claim that those same dangerous conditions were present the day that Malcolm went swimming. According to local authorities, bystanders tried to help when they saw him struggling. But by the time Costa Rica's Red Cross got to the scene, it was already too late. He was found unresponsive. Shortly after, dead. Now, police were quick to shut down any rumors of foul play, saying it was a tragic accident and nothing more. Here's where things start to get murky, because while the public was still trying to process the news, those closest to Malcolm were already raising questions. Multiple sources say that his family doesn't believe the official story. Allegedly, they've reported that details weren't adding up. And behind the scenes, they've been quiet, pushing for answers because something about how it all unfolded has them convinced that it wasn't just some freak accident. It had to be something deeper. But what really has people feeling sus is how little information has really actually come out, especially since Clay's Beach isn't some hidden, deserted place. It's a popular public spot. On any given day, you'll find plenty of tourists, locals, beachgoers all over the area. The fact that not a single photo, video, or detailed eyewitness account has surfaced, it's a lot of alarms. Now, sure, most people would agree it's disrespectful to record someone in their final moments. In a perfect world, folks would know when to put the phone down. But let's be honest, when has the internet ever followed that rule? Especially when a celebrity is involved. Whether it's out of shock, clout chasing, or curiosity, someone usually hits record. So for there to be absolutely nothing, not even a blurry clip, a beachgoer's post over secondhand account of what went down, or someone trying to save him, that's not just strange, it's suspicious. And for Malcolm's fans and family, it's becoming harder and harder to accept that this was just a tragic accident with no strings attached. But what really has people raising eyebrows is the fact that there were no lifeguards on duty when Malcolm drowned. The Caribbean Guard later claimed that there weren't any lifeguards because of resource issues. But here's the thing, they also admitted that the beach had been on their radar for years because of how dangerous it is. So why weren't they patrolling that day? Why weren't there any signs that there's no swimming allowed? And right after the news broke, they put out a statement saying that they were now redirecting resources back to that same beach, plus another one known for strong currents. So yeah, it's not hard to see why folks aren't buying this timing, the excuses. It feels too convenient. Well, the timeline of what actually happened that day is another red flag, because reports are all over the place when it comes to how long Malcolm was in the water, how many people tried to help, and exactly when emergency responders showed up. Those vague, conflicting details have only added fuel to the fire online, and people are asking if this was such a straightforward accident, why is the timeline so hard to pin down? But what really pushed things over the edge for a lot of folks is the timing of his death. Just 2 days before the drowning, Malcolm released what would be his final podcast episode, titled Not All Hood. In the episode that I'm about to play, he got real about survival, Black identity, and the struggle to rise above the stereotypes. There was even one line in particular that's now haunting fans. Black survival in itself is Black excellence.
First time it made me think of Black excellence in a different way. Right? Like because Black excellence now is attributed to fame and money.
Never.
So that's been my issue.
Never for me.
With it. But now when I'm looking into the story, like Black survival in end of itself is Black excellence.
Because we've always had to supersede, do better, and more things have been put in our way to cross over.
And see, the thing about it, I don't ever look at it as a subset. I look at it as special. Because excellence, white people mediocre. Always have been. They don't have to try as hard. They don't have to, because somebody else will come clean it up. We've never had that luxury. We've always had to be twice, 10 times as good. So Black excellence is better. It's just what it is. We just put Black on it because it is. We've had to always be that. We've never, no matter what we've done, and even when we're better than them, they still will find a way to put somebody over us. That's just what it is.
Yeah, that message just hit different, especially now. For some, it feels less like a reflection and more like a goodbye, a warning, a final statement he may not have known would be his last, or maybe he did. Either way, the timing feels way too suspicious to ignore, and it's now become a major piece of the puzzle for those who don't believe this was just an accident. And then there's the part that really has people raising eyebrows. Malcolm wasn't just a celebrity, he was known for speaking his mind, especially when it came to race, power, and identity. In that podcast episode that I'm about to play, he didn't sugarcoat anything. In this other interview, he called out how mainstream media distorts the image of black men, how society constantly tries to box them in, and how exhausting it is to survive when being silenced.
Media focuses on. And,
that we're all one thing.
Yeah, and the whole concept is, we're not all hood. The black community is not a monolith. There's so many levels and lanes to the black community, and we wanted to have a space where we could acknowledge, discuss all of those lanes, because they're so varied in terms of our perspectives and our opinions and our ways of life, and we wanted to be able to have a place where we can talk about all of those things, discuss all of those things, and shed light on the not all hood aspects of who we are.
All right. And Candace, look.
Now that kind of honesty made Malcolm respected, but it also made him a target. Fans are already connecting dots pointing to disturbing patterns. Outspoken black voices suddenly silenced, often under suspicious or unclear circumstances. And with the way that Malcolm went out so suddenly, it's starting to feel all too familiar. That same episode, Malcolm called out how the media keeps recycling the same tired, one-dimensional hood narrative while ignoring the depth and complexity of black life. He said it's not just lazy, it's dangerous. In his snippet, he talks about the fact that when all people see is trauma and struggle, it feeds the same stereotypes that have been used to box black communities in for generations.
The name came from our third host, Wayusi Baraka. And the reason for the title is combating the narrative of black life, black culture that the media focuses on. And
that we're all one thing.
Yeah, and the whole concept is, we're not all hood.
But what really hit home was how he flipped the entire idea of black excellence. Instead of tying it to fame, money, or status, Malcolm made it clear that just surviving in a world that constantly tries to erase you is the real definition of excellence. His exact words, black survival in itself is black excellence. And now, with the timing of his death, that message is starting to feel a lot more loaded than anyone expected. The timing of Malcolm's final podcast has fans looking way deeper than before. It dropped just 48 hours before his death, and for a lot of people, that doesn't feel like a coincidence. They're not just seeing it as a regular episode, they're seeing it as a statement, a message, maybe even a warning. Here's where it gets even more unsettling. Word in the streets is that Malcolm's family doesn't believe the podcast was random. Rumor has it that they think he was using this episode to send a message, not just to his listeners, but to certain people who may have not liked what he was saying. People with power. And if that's true, it raises a chilling question. Was Malcolm silenced because he refused to stay quiet? Now this is where it gets even more suspicious though. The lack of direct evidence from the scene is only fueling suspicions, because if this really was a tragic drowning, why is there so much secrecy around what actually went down? Fans are asking the same question over and over. Where's the transparency? Who was there? What exactly happened in those final moments? But this is where things really start to heat up, because according to whispers online, Malcolm's family isn't buying the official version either. Word is they're now considering hiring a private investigator to retrace his final steps and uncover the truth that no one seems to be willing to talk about. According to reports, Malcolm's family finds the whole thing suspicious. What really has them side-eyeing the official story is the theory that Malcolm might have already been dead before he even touched the water. Nothing has been confirmed yet, but they allegedly believe that he may have been injected with some kind of slow-acting poison that only kicked in once they got into the beach. That'll explain how he ended up in the water in the first place. What makes this thing even more chilling is that his daughter was present, and fans are already connecting the dots to a larger pattern. One that seems to follow outspoken black voices who refuse to play the game. There has been a long talk about how black figures who challenge the system often face sudden downfalls, career sabotage, or worse. They've pointed to Nipsey Hussle, who was gunned down while advocating for black ownership, and even Dave Chappelle, who got slammed for walking away from a multi-million-dollar deal because he refused to be controlled. And then there's Martin Lawrence, who fans believe was poisoned with something that triggered a full mental breakdown. Because back in May 1996, Martin was arrested for being spotted out at a busy intersection in Sherman Oaks, California. He was holding a firearm and screaming at random cars, shouting things like, "They're trying to kill me." One witness even claimed that Martin yelled, "Fight! Don't give up! Fight the power!" while officers were taking him into the hospital. But what made the situation even more suspicious was how quickly the media labeled him as troubled, hinting that he was probably on drugs. But the weirdest part? The doctors who treated Martin at the hospital shut the narrative down fast. In fact, the medical center's spokesperson, Ron Wise, told reporters that there was absolutely no substance of any type involved. So if substances weren't the issue and Martin himself was clearly scared for his life, what was really going on? Who might have been chasing him? And fans have been asking that question ever since. Oh, and can we not forget that Angie Stone just passed away under similar circumstances? What really raised eyebrows is that she was the only one who didn't survive that tragic car accident. And honestly, the whole thing is starting to sound a lot too familiar. Just like Malcolm, Angie had recently called out the industry and hinted that she was sitting on some serious dirt. And some folks even say she knew way too much. Right before the accident, Angie made a post on Instagram that a lot of people now believe was her warning shot. She wrote, "I have just discovered something that's been hidden in the dark for too long. My publishing was stolen, and guess what? I know exactly who did it. But don't get it twisted, I'm coming for you. All the dogs who thought they could take what's mine, trust, I'm ready." Just like Jamie Foxx said, what had happened was, well, now it's my turn to share my testimony. It's a new chapter, and you can bet the truth is coming to light. Stay tuned. Well, fans took that message as a clear threat to powerful people behind the scenes. Then just days later, she was gone. Whether it's a coincidence or something sinister, people are definitely starting to connect the dots. And fans are starting to believe that these theories and stories aren't just coincidences. To them, they seem like a pattern. One that shows exactly what happens when someone steps outside the box or refuses to play the industry's games. And what makes Malcolm's case even more striking is how different his career path was. Unlike a lot of former child stars, he didn't spiral or chase headlines. He kept his life quiet, focused on meaningful work, and stayed clear of messy drama. Over time, he shifted from sitcoms to spoken word and started creating content that hit deeper, talking openly about his mass incarceration and cultural erasure and what it really means to exist as a black man in America. It wasn't about staying relevant, it was about telling the truth, and according to his family, that's exactly what made him a threat. This is exactly why his family doesn't believe that this was just some random accident. Could it be that this isn't just about Malcolm, that it's about a disturbing pattern? Was his death a part of a bigger picture of where outspoken black voices seem to face sudden tragedy the moment their influence starts to shift the culture? This has everybody on edge. Malcolm wasn't just out here chasing attention. He had a clean reputation, a growing platform, and a powerful message, and a long history of excellent acting and speaking, especially in that final podcast. And fans believe he was on the verge of something bigger. That's when everything went left. So now the question is, was this really a tragic accident, or was Malcolm-Jamal Warner silenced just as he started to speak too loudly? Well, his family isn't backing down. The podcast, the missing timeline, the whispers of private investigations, none of it's going away. If there's one thing that we've learned, it's when families start digging, secrets don't stay buried for long. Because that doesn't feel like closure. It feels like a warning. And something tells me that this story is just getting started.